coming up and studying design. Now, what is actually design culture? It's a very big word, very strong word. I wonder whether the organizer really understand what design culture actually means. I'm going to give you a very simple scenario. Now, the world around us, everything around you is design. This bottle went through the hands of a designer. The clothes you wear went through a designer. Even this auditorium or this building, someone designed it. So it means that we live in a world where nothing happens without going through the thinking process of the designer. So which means, how is it that the design around us impact us as a person, as a culture, as a nation? I'll give you a very simple example. All of you who has a smartphone, raise up your hands. Everybody has a smartphone, right? Do you know the smartphone have changed our culture? I'll give you an example, okay? What is the design? The design of a smartphone is now it comes with a camera. When the phone was first introduced, there was no camera on the phone. Now the phone is basically it's able to do a lot of things. And one of the things it can do is take photos, right? So how does the design of a phone that has a camera change your behavior? Everywhere you go, you take photos, right? And that is a behavioral change, which means the industrial design that included a camera in the phone help you take photos easily. And how does that impact our culture? We started taking selfies. And selfie has become a cultural shift. This term selfie, there was no such word in our dictionary in my time. But today, if you go into Wikipedia or you go into dictionary.com, you're going to find the term selfie. So the design of a smartphone with a camera have shifted our behavior change and have actually created a selfie culture. So this is to explain to you why design is so important. Design actually impacts us, our behavior, our daily life, and the whole culture for a generation. So this is design culture. And whether you are in industrial design, architectural, or maybe graphics like I am, you will find that all of it will influence the way we live. But this morning, I'm going to talk more about graphic design because that's my industry. My other co-speakers will be talking to you about architecture or the other elements of design. But this morning, I am going to focus particularly on graphic design. So, what influences design? What do you think is the one thing that really influences design? Anyone know the answer? It's our tools. Back then, the tools we used were different from the tools you all use today. So the tools that we have actually influence our design. And if you rewind the clock, you will find that the tools we had back then, you still need to be skillful in those tools in order to produce good design. That have not changed. Today, you have to be skillful in the tools that you have whether it's the Adobe Creative Suite or whatever, you have to be skillful in it in order to produce good design. So what were the tools that we used back then? Have you all seen this? Those in architecture should know this. In architecture, they will probably use technical pens more than ruling pens. But when we do graphics, we have to learn how to use these two tools very well. Okay, now this is a ruling pen, and you see this wheel here. What you do is when you turn the wheel, the gap of the ruling pen will shift, so you can have a broader line or a thinner line, and then you put paint or ink between the two gaps, and then you draw. So that is a ruling pen, and we have to use it a lot when I first started in the industry. And the technical pen, it comes in different point sizes. You see the different dots. So you have 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.5, 0.8. The narrower the point, the more often it gets clogged. So you in the office, you hear people click, 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 because you have to shake the pen in order to write. So these were the tools that we used. Letter transfer. Everybody in the industry will know what letter-set is. You cannot use a computer to type out text, because there were no computers back then. So in order to do headlines, you have to buy this sheet of paper, and then you put it over the surface that you want to transfer the letter onto the piece of paper. So you rub. You rub, and then you peel off. That text will be stuck on the paper. So you have to do one by one. So if my headline is design culture, I have to do in a DESIGN. A lot of work. And you have to make sure it is straight. Today, you just type, and you can pick the font you want. So you find that these were the tools that we had, because we cannot just type any text you want. And if you want different font, you have to buy different letter set or letter transfers. Have you all? Do you know what is this? I see a lot of people shaking their head. They don't know what is this. CalGUM is something that every design studio will use during those days. And everybody got high on CalGUM. You know glue, you sniff glue? CalGUM is what we call rubber gum, which means that you can actually glue a piece of paper, and then you can remove and glue again, and no marks will be left. Now why is it we need CalGUM? Because you cannot typeset, like today you just type on the computer, you print out. Those days, if you want to do any text, you have to send out to a company called a typesetter. They will typeset the text you want. We bring it back. We will cut line by line and then paste it on the layout that we want. So we use CalGUM to do the pasting. And we have to use a lot of anti-cutters. Do you know in design school, we spent 6 months just to learn how to use an anti-cutter. Because the cutter is not only used to cut lines of text, it is also used to clean up your technical pen drawing, to smoothen the edges or to... It's a lot of work. So these were the tools that designer had. So you must understand the design culture at that time, or the work that they produce, is limited